with WABi, we always focus on stronger, simpler, smarter. And one of the things we needed to develop was our own in-house design team. So with our in-house design team, we can actually then, meet the client up front and start a process into developing their 4 tented project, 50 tented project, or cabins, or what's needed. So with that, the first stage is actually a discovery stage, because the discovery stage is probably the most important stage, and they're the ones that actually develop the main cost of the project to the end. So in there, we actually then try to understand who the market is, what the market wants, and what experience they want to be delivered. And then once you actually work that out, is the room rate going to be $300 a night? Is the room rate going to be $2,500 a night? What experience are the customers going to get? Go back to people only pay for the experiences and sleep for free. So that's really important in the discovery stage. Once we get the discovery stage worked out of what a tent or a cabin would look like and what that feels like, that then is quite easy then to move on to the next stage. The next stage from there is a very quick stage, which is the master planning. But it's not done with great detail, but it's actually more just putting things down for it's a discovery. It's something for discussions, because we've already got most of the modules already drawn. It actually is a very quick process for us to actually put the master planning down, and from there the master planning then can actually start the fundamentals of the next few stages, because what people care about a lot is cost, which is fair. But one thing we're able to do is, because we've actually already built numerous of these projects before and different tents or cabins, we actually know the price up front. So in that really early discovery master planning stage, we can actually then use known formulas to put in to say how much your project's going to cost. And this is so important, because what unfortunately happens, a lot of architectural companies, they take you to the discovery at the end. All the way along you love it. Oh, it's getting better, it's so good, and now it costs too much. And that great old saying is, there is no budget until it costs too much. And it's very important to get that early on. And then your budget might be, at that master planning stage, might be 20% over, it might even be 20% under. Well, that gives you then the ability to add more to it, to either, if you're 20% under, you can spend more, add more on your interiors, more on your fit out. So we can bring all of these ideas really quickly to you, so you don't actually lose time in the process. And we believe we can take somebody from a concept design through to a construction progress 50%, or probably 50%, or 2/3 quicker than a normal process, because we know the cost, we know the modular sizes, and we can put you down really quick for your discovery stage. And then the other stage is you may even want to scale the project. You may want to build it in, numerous tents or cabins up front, or you might want facility buildings, which is, your restaurant and bars. But, you don't really want to build the big restaurant and bar up front, because you're only going to put 20 cabins in. Well, that's okay. We can actually modularize that for you as well. So we can, everything we build has the ability to grow. So we can build you a restaurant and bar that only has 50 people in it, but you actually want to have 150 in the future. Well, from there, with our WABi system, we can just bolt more parts on. If that needs more, deck space, internal space, and so forth, it's very easily added. And then also, you might want to keep it to a minimum. If in the facility buildings, you want to keep things like the toilets and the showers to a minimal for those sort of areas, because, you don't think they're going to be used. So why would you put them in just in case? Where, you can always add them later on if that's needed. As we go through the process, then at this stage there, you almost pause at just before you go into development approval. At that pause there, you can go, okay, how much is it going to cost? Plus or minus 20% of where you want to be. Are we on budget? Do we need to cut? Do we need to cut units, cut floor space, or can we add to it, because it's actually going to be really cool and the room rate's going to be higher than what we imagined? So then we actually go into DA really quickly. And then from there, how do we actually get to the final cost? Well, that's where we actually coordinate all the other, suppliers, if you want to call it that. So that's your actually civil works, your engineering works, and so forth. And you can coordinate all of that from that early master plan. And again, you can actually then start to fix some of those other prices, so you know the end result of what you're trying to achieve. But again, the good thing about this is it's really quick and it's up front, not actually 1 year later. As the project's then in for DA or waiting, that's the time to move to the next stage. The next stage is then we're confident of what we're actually doing, we're confident where it's going, we're confident with its price. So therefore, we will then go into building drawings, engineering drawings, and we'd be ready then in some cases to submit out for tender bids, and we can manage the process for your electrical installs, your hydraulic installs, and so forth. So certainly then, the emotional side of what you're trying to do is the FF&E. This is the sort of time where you spend a lot of time and a lot of effort on the FF&E, because that's the final, at the moment we've actually been drawing structural buildings, if you want to call it that. The actual importance is about to start, but we don't like to bring this up too early on, because it's not as relevant as whether you're buying a $700 chair or a $3,000 chair. It's at this stage because you've now getting sort of closer on price, and we know that FF&E is allowed to charge or cost a certain square meter rate based on the return and the imagery and the 3D models that you've already got. So this is the time when the FF&E comes into place.